My ex-wife tried to sabotage my new relationship, but my grandparents' surprise inheritance saved me. I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts, but here I am, seeking some perspective on a situation that has completely upended my life. It's long, so please bear with me. My story begins about 7 years ago when I married my college sweetheart, Sarah. We had been together since our freshman year, a classic campus romance. Everyone thought we were perfect together, the couple destined for a lifetime of happiness. For a while, I believed it too. We bought a small house, adopted a golden retriever, and talked about kids, picturing a future that seemed so clear and bright. The cracks started appearing subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. Sarah, who had always been ambitious, became increasingly focused on her career. I admired her drive, truly, but it felt like our relationship began to take a backseat. Dinners became less frequent, weekends were often spent with her working, and intimacy dwindled. I tried to talk to her about it, to express my feelings of loneliness and neglect, but she would always brush it off, blaming stress from work or assuring me things would get better once her big project was over. This big project seemed to stretch on indefinitely. Then came the emotional affair. I discovered it accidentally, a series of hushed phone calls and late-night texts from a colleague, Mark. When I confronted her, she initially denied it, then minimized it, claiming it was just a friendship and that I was overreacting. The denial stung more than the betrayal itself. We went to therapy, or at least we tried. Sarah was reluctant, often canceling appointments last minute or arriving late, clearly disengaged. The therapist eventually told me, gently, that it seemed Sarah wasn't committed to fixing things. It was a hard pill to swallow, but I couldn't deny the truth of it. After 6 months of trying, I finally admitted defeat. The trust was shattered, and the emotional distance between us felt like an ocean. I filed for divorce. It was amicable enough on paper. We split our assets down the middle, and I kept the house since I had contributed more to the down payment and mortgage. But emotionally, it was devastating. The divorce was finalized a little over 2 years ago. The period after the divorce was rough. I threw myself into work, spent a lot of time with friends and family, and tried to rediscover who I was outside of Sarah's husband. I dated casually, but nothing serious stuck. My confidence was shot, and I was wary of getting hurt again. I swore off serious relationships for a while, content with my own company and the peace I had finally found. Then, about 8 months ago, I met Emily. She was a breath of fresh air. Kind, funny, intelligent, and incredibly genuine. We met through a mutual friend at a charity event, and we just clicked. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and I found myself laughing more than I had in years. Emily understood my past without judging it, and she encouraged me to open up, something I hadn't truly done since the divorce. It felt different, real, and I slowly started to believe in love again. Things progressed quickly with Emily, in the best possible way. We moved in together 3 months ago, and we've been talking about our future, about marriage and children. It felt right, like finding the missing piece I hadn't realized was gone. My family adored Emily, and my friends all commented on how happy and light I seemed. Everything was perfect. Or so I thought. 2 weeks ago, I received a call from my ex-wife, Sarah. My heart sank. We hadn't spoken since the divorce was finalized, only exchanging emails about shared financial paperwork when absolutely necessary. She sounded agitated, almost frantic. She started by saying she had heard things about me and Emily, making it sound like she was concerned for my well-being. I kept my responses short and polite, trying to end the call quickly. That's when she dropped the bombshell. She told me she had heard from a mutual friend that Emily was only after my money. She claimed that Emily had a history of dating men for their financial stability and that I was being used. I was stunned. Emily is a successful graphic designer, earning a very comfortable living. The idea that she would be with me for money was ludicrous. I calmly told Sarah that she was mistaken and that I didn't appreciate her trying to meddle in my personal life. She then became accusatory, saying I was blinded by Emily and that she, Sarah, was just trying to protect me. The call ended with me telling her not to contact me again, that I didn't tell Emily about the call immediately. I didn't want to upset her or make her feel uncomfortable. I also didn't want to give Sarah's malicious words any power, but the call bothered me more than I let on. I knew Sarah could be manipulative, but this felt like a new low. A few days later, things escalated. Emily started receiving anonymous messages on social media and emails, all echoing Sarah's claims, saying she was a gold digger and that I was a fool. The messages included details about my past, even mentioning our divorce and Sarah by name. It was clear who was behind it. Emily was understandably upset and confused. She confronted me, asking if there was something she should know about my past that would make someone target her like this. I confessed about Sarah's call. Emily was hurt, not by me, but by Sarah's actions. She was furious that someone would try to tear us apart with such baseless accusations that we decided to ignore the messages, hoping Sarah would eventually tire herself out. But she didn't. The messages became more frequent and more aggressive. They started targeting Emily's work, leaving negative reviews on her professional profiles and sending emails to her clients, accusing her of unprofessional behavior and trying to exploit me. This was deeply concerning. Emily's career was her passion, and Sarah was actively trying to damage it. That I knew I had to do something. I contacted a lawyer, explaining the situation and asking about options for a restraining order or a cease and desist. The lawyer advised me that while we had a strong case, these things could be lengthy and costly, and in the meantime, the damage to Emily's reputation could be significant. It felt like we were trapped in Sarah's twisted game. Then, something completely unexpected happened. My grandparents, who are both in their late 80s and live several states away, called me. They had always been incredibly supportive and loving, and I spoke to them regularly. They told me they had been updating their wills and wanted to make some changes. They had always been relatively private about their finances, so this was a bit unusual. My grandfather, in his usual straightforward manner, got straight to the point. He said, "Son, your grandmother and I have been watching. We know what Sarah did. We know about the trouble she's causing. And we want to make sure you and Emily are protected." My heart nearly stopped. How did they know? It turned out that my grandmother had a distant cousin who was a mutual acquaintance of Sarah's family. This cousin had been hearing rumors and seen some of Sarah's online activity and, knowing my grandparents were close to me, had discreetly informed them of what was happening. My grandparents, being the fiercely protective people they are, had been doing their own quiet investigation. They had even seen some of the malicious messages targeting Emily. My grandfather then explained that they were leaving me a significant portion of their estate, a sum far greater than I had ever anticipated. He said they wanted to ensure that no one could ever accuse Emily of being with me for money, and that this inheritance would give us the financial security to pursue our lives without fear of Sarah's continued harassment. He explicitly stated that the inheritance was to be placed in a trust, with Emily having joint access and a designated portion explicitly for her, solidifying her financial independence and making it clear she wasn't reliant on my existing assets. I was speechless, overwhelmed by their generosity and their unwavering belief in me and Emily. I told them how much it meant to me and how much I loved them. They assured me it was their pleasure and that seeing me happy again was all they cared about. The next day, armed with this news, I called my lawyer again. We discussed the trust and the implications of the inheritance. The lawyer was excited, saying this completely changed our approach. With Emily's clear financial independence now undeniably established through the inheritance, Sarah's claims about her being a gold digger would be utterly baseless and easily disproven. The lawyer drafted a much stronger cease and desist letter, detailing the potential legal repercussions for defamation and harassment, and specifically mentioning the new financial arrangements and how they undermined Sarah's malicious narrative. We sent the letter. The impact was immediate and dramatic. Sarah, I imagine, realized that her game was up. Her attempts to portray Emily as a financial opportunist were now not only ludicrous but also legally dangerous. The anonymous messages stopped. The negative reviews disappeared. Silenced. It's been a week since the cease and desist was sent. The peace in our lives is almost palpable. Emily is relieved and incredibly touched by my grandparents' actions. She's still processing everything, but she's also incredibly grateful. We are now planning our future with a renewed sense of security and optimism, though I'm still reeling from the whole experience. I'm thankful for my grandparents, their wisdom, and their incredible generosity. I'm thankful for Emily, for her strength and understanding throughout this ordeal. And I'm thankful that Sarah's toxic attempts to sabotage my happiness ultimately backfired in such a spectacular way, proving once and for all that true love and family support can overcome even the most malicious intentions. I never thought an inheritance could be a shield against emotional warfare, but it truly has been. I just wanted to share my story and perhaps get some thoughts on how to move forward completely, ensuring Sarah never becomes an issue again. Should I keep the lawyer on retainer? What other steps should I take to protect our future? I'm open to all advice.